This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
Will our digital doubles be making more than us in the future? That's one of the things that I wanted to talk about today on Everyday AI. This is your daily live stream, podcast, and newsletter. Yeah, we're doing it all, helping to bring you the latest news and development in everything AI and to help you actually use it. So today, I have a special guest to help us dive into all of those things. Guillermo Thompson, he is the founder and director of Ombu Ombu. G, thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Hi, guys. Thank you for inviting me, Jordan. I'm really excited to just have fun with it and chat with you.
Yeah, let's go. All right. So before we talk about branding and what that means with these digital doubles and all these other things, I wanted to talk about what's going on in the world of AI news. And as a reminder, if you're listening to us live on the show, please drop us a comment. Drop a comment for G or myself. We'll answer your hottest questions. It's Monday, but keep us on our toes. Keep us honest. But if you're listening on the podcast, make sure to tune back in every day as we do this at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. First story. It hasn't even happened yet. G, we're going to be previewing this, but Apple is finally, we think, making a big splash in the AI world. They haven't really done a lot, whereas Google, Microsoft, Facebook, everyone else has been going hard in the paint with AI. Apple, not so much, but they're expected to be announcing their mixed reality headset today. Apparently, it's going to be crazy, intuitive, but extremely expensive. What are your thoughts on this? Is this going to do anything, or is this just going to be something for people to play with?
I don't know. Like people they would just probably read the title of the articles or just watch the news in the TV, and they just didn't. When it comes to Apple, people are so excited about the brand that I could already hear the riots. You know what I mean? Like just. Yeah, there are riots already. Like people will probably like line up, camp outside the store and try to get a hand of it, and they didn't even know the price. Like they're just gonna buy it and see what it's like.
So true. Speaking of, having a very hardcore following and fan base, Google is probably right there with Apple, but people aren't too happy with Google's new AI-powered search experience. Apparently, it's very slow. Not everyone has access to it yet, but Google has slowly started to give access to its new search experience called the SGE, or the Search Generative Experience. Essentially, it's supposed to be a much better search experience with a lot more AI summaries and not necessarily having to, go in and click 10 different articles to read them all to get a good understanding of what's going on. But it's better, but it's slow. G, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, it's just a matter of time. This reminds me of like a Louis joke. It goes something like, when they started having Wi-Fi in planes, and then, like he's sitting next to a guy, and the guy's like, "Oh, can you believe this? The Wi-Fi is really slow." And then Louis C.K. it's like, a day before and today, there was no Wi-Fi in planes. Like now there's Wi-Fi and you're already complaining that it's slow. So, it's a natural reaction for trolls that, like they haven't been on the process. They don't know anything what it takes to make it to complain. So prompts to Google for keeping it up. There's a huge race among these huge enterprise IT companies to see who gets first and who's like up with the new technology. Same with Apple, Microsoft. But, I'm excited to try it out, even if it's slow now, like in a matter of days, speeding up. I worked for a leading software testing company, so I know what it takes in terms of functionality and quality assurance. So I'm not complaining,
Yeah. You bring up a good point with the analogy of Wi-Fi on airplanes, right? I think even though if it's slower on the front end, I think if you look through the typical Googling journey, you usually have to search multiple queries. Within each of those queries, you usually have to read multiple web pages to get to the point of getting the right information that this new search experience will bring. So I think when you frame it like that, it's like, all right, well, maybe it's a half of a second more on the front end, but in theory, saving a ton of time on the back end. Speaking of saving a ton of time, that's what Hollywood's been trying to do with the I'll say almost rampant use now of digital doubles, right? So we opened the show asking if digital doubles are going to be making more than us. But at least in Hollywood, this is something that Hollywood's largest union has been talking about this. So separately, there's been the writer strike in Hollywood, but now the Hollywood's largest union is discussing this and talking about pay in the age of artificial intelligence. So they're going into contract negotiations with studios this week, but essentially actors are worried about losing control of their image due to AI. Guillermo, you work a lot in branding. And so what do you think that this is going to result in? Like, are the Hollywood studios going to come up with something concrete in terms of their digital doubles, or is this always going to be a gray area, do you think?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of things here to digest. First of all, I think actors have been feeling this. Like, this is not something new for actors. Like, as soon as they started to having visual effects, actors started feeling that they were like, even in movies, they were pulling away from acting more and more. We all seen those like behind the scenes of Marvel movies where they're just like, this is not acting, right? They're just pretending to talk to someone. It's not even there. So now it's transitioning to, we don't really need actors. We just need their recognizable faces. And I don't know, they're very privileged people. Let's be honest. We all seen the Golden Globes. We all heard Ricky Gervais like really tackle this issue about like, come on, boo-hoo. Like, you guys complaining. But and this is also why I admire someone like Tom Cruise. I'm not a fan of him, but I respect him because he just committed to the craft, like doing his own stance and so forth. And I don't know, you guys, like there's so many things to think about on this topic, but I recommend everybody. I did to Jordan before the show started, watch Dead, Love, and Robots, or Love, Dead, and Robots. I don't know. It's a show in Netflix. And this is the first show I actually watched where I saw like they were using someone's famous actors' faces. I think Hugh Jackman, and there's a couple more recognizable faces there that I was certain there was nothing involved with the actor. They just bought the rights to use his image and not even his voice, And this is the future. I mean, in a sense, they just want to get paid for that or get compensated for that.
Yeah. Just threw that up on the screen there. What G just recommended, Love, Death, and Robots. So let's actually talk, speaking of this, because it is about actors' concern of losing their brand image, right? Or at least not being compensated for it, right? There's probably two different pieces.
They own their image because everybody's going to recognize Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. They just want to get as much paid as they did before, but I don't know, like they already have the money, you know what I mean? Like, and at the same time, with this, I think many actors, I don't know if every actor is complaining about this, but I'm sure many actors are happy that now they're going to reach immortality. You know what I mean? In a sense, they're going to be forever in the screen, because that was always a problem with their egos. It's like, oh, I'm going to grow old. I'm going to be forgettable. They're going to be a new generation. Now with this kind of technology, they can have a Tom Cruise for hundreds and hundreds of years. And for the industry, it even works because we all know that they just like, even when an actor retires or goes after his prime, they will look for that kind of stereotype, kind of type, body or face. So I don't know, you guys, like, I think that I have nothing to complain,
Yeah, no, I get it. But speaking of this, right? So I think even if we bring it back outside of actors and we bring it back to just general branding as an example, right? In theory, I could duplicate my face, my voice. I could have a 24/7 nonstop version of this show. Maybe the quality wouldn't be as good, right? But I could.
I thought you're already on it, Jordan. Like,
this all my reactions are definitely AI generated, but at least so when you're working with clients or even just talking to people in the branding space,
mhm.
what's your recommendation? Should companies or individuals be exploring this? Should they be making avatars that are AI generated that can go off and do more for themselves, or should they stay away from it? What do you think?
Well, this is where it comes like we talked about this last week in a different context, but I think this is where like it gets ethical, and the whole thing behind promoting a personal brand to help your actual brand or your company or your business is to be authentic, to give value, to get people to know the persons that are behind these companies. And so no, I'm totally against AI generated avatars. But at the same time, I mean, again, we talked about this before, is that we all need to assume, we all need to recognize that even the people that are watching me today or getting to know me and your show, this is not me. Like, there's more beyond
Mhm.
branding in Guillermo. You know what I mean? Like, there's other interests, there's family and friends, there's hobbies. You know what I mean? Like, so even this is the thing, is that even before this AI technology was accessible for us to generate avatars and so forth, even with the social media effect that had in society, like even at that point, even in early stages, we were already showing something that was not us entirely. It was an
Mhm.
avatar. It was an
Mhm.
image that we wanted to convey to other people, but it wasn't real. You know what I mean? Like, we all know the cases of all these people and that are like suffering depression because they're showing an image in social media that is like always happy, always
Yeah.
outgoing, and then if they don't get the feedback, the loving from their
Mhm.
audience, then they get the cravings, then they get lonely, and they're so we all seen like this. Like, I just watched a video yesterday of someone getting a selfie next to a buffalo on Yellowstone.
Mhm.
What are we doing? Like, what I mean? Like, we're not even contemplating the wonders
Basic
of
human
life right now.
safety
Yeah.
or
So
safety, right?
AI it's just like a caveat to it. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like, now you can take it to a whole another stream, which is like, I'm not even creating the content now. It's like AI generating it for me and AI
Yeah.
showing up in front of the
Yeah.
camera.
So my question, and I get your point about being against kind of the digital avatar. I see that too. I do see use cases for it, but I want to ask you though, how can the everyday person still use AI? So generative AI, maybe Chat GPT, maybe Mid Journey, or any other thing. How can we use those tools to build brands, or should we not be using them at all?
Well, I mean, I will be a hypocrite if I would say, don't use it. We all implementing it. We all experimenting with it. We all speculating, the results we're gonna get. We all feel like there is a definitely benefit of being so immediate, right? And in terms of delivering results, I don't know if there are like better results than before. Um, I also think that we're all kind of getting lazy in some
Mm,
like thought processing. Like we talked about this off camera before. It's like, if I'm gonna make a post, do I just prompt chat gpt, or do I take like the 1 minute to actually be myself and
mm,
post it? Sometimes it takes longer to prompt the right response you want from ChatGPT than actually be yourself and splash on social media. So I do recommend using it. I do recommend experimenting with it. I encourage a lot of, especially young people, that are uncertain of, if they're, it's not that they're, I feel like people sometimes they feel like young generations don't know what they want. I think that
Hmm.
they do know what they want. It's just that no one told them they really can, because we're always comparing ourselves to the most successful people in the world, and that's just like defeating, like, oh,
Hmm.
I would never be like, Elon Musk, because, I'm
Sure.
so far away. But I do encourage people to use AI and try to build their own brand, trying to build their own business,
Hmm.
but going rooted on the basics, which is like giving value to people, or you know, the motivation has to be a very noble mission, right?
Yeah.
Um,
How do you think you find the balance, right? Because that's one thing we always talk about in branding, especially with personal branding is staying authentic, and being truly yourself. But then obviously even the best, the most successful people in branding now are also saying yes, leverage AI to build your brand. How do you find the balance?
That's a great question, Jordan. I don't know. I think because if I want to build on your question, but I don't have the answer.
Yeah.
Because that's true. It's like, I mean, AI still a tool, right? Like any other technology or any other tool we have. So it's just a matter of what do you use it for. So
Hmm.
if you're using it to have positive impact on your community, or help your family, or what I mean, like your company or your brand is actually going to be it's going to have a positive effect in
Hmm.
others, then go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're just concerned about profit and cutting corners, you know what I mean, and scamming people, then you know what I mean, stop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, don't use it.
Yeah.
Please
I
don't
actually
use it.
I actually started this with a question, but I think you rephrasing the question helped me maybe get a potential answer. So I think one thing too is whether you're talking about building a personal brand or if you're working on building a brand for a company, the way I kind of think of it is, okay, what if you had unlimited resources? Or what if you had a larger team? What would you do if you had more people or more resources? And that's kind of what I think, at least using AI is for, right? Like you as the human, or you as the, founder, the founder and director of Ombu Ombu can
Hmm.
still build brands yourself, but you can then have, as an example, a team of quote unquote, a team of researchers using AI, in an ideation session that can go way in depth using AI, someone that can help proofread or improve your brand strategy or your brand identity using AI. So maybe that's one way, question mark. Uh, you know, what's one way that you've let's say the average person out there, if they are in branding but they haven't dipped their toe in AI yet, what's maybe one piece of advice that you would give them on, hey, here's a way to get started, and to take those first steps?
Well, I mean, ChatGPT is definitely like the most accessible AI language model that, even everybody can like experiment with it. Like, we all seen those videos, like, here are the 5 prompts or 10 prompts you must do to really squeeze the juice out of
Hmm.
of ChatGPT. But um, really, you have to experiment with it, use it as a consultant, and don't forget that, again, it's a tool, right? So it doesn't matter like what prompt you put, but
Hmm.
think about your end goal. Like, what do you really want to get results out of it? You know what I mean? Like, and go to the core of values. You know what I mean? Like, is this gonna have a positive impact in me or others? Or I'm just gonna be selfish and ask, like, what stock should I invest to? You know what I mean? Like, or you know what I mean? Like, how to scam people? Give me, you know what I mean? Like, how to be rich quick. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
just think about, like, like, how to the end goal. It doesn't matter if you use AI or you ask your peers. You know what I mean? Like, um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hunter just dropped a comment, like the idea of using it as a consultant. Intriguing. Yeah. Hunter, thanks for the comment. Maybe let's even talk one way real quick. I know we, are really dragging this one out, G, but I love your insights. What's one way? Because, we've all seen those posts, try these 10 prompts, get the most juice out of your lemon.
Yeah.
What's maybe the one very practical example that you've used something in the AI, if you have one, something in the AI space where you were like, whoa, okay, this is going to help help me help a client. What's that one example that you did and you were blown away?
Well, going along with what I said, and hey, PP, how's it going? Um, yeah, with the lottery numbers. No, seriously, I always tell him who he is or who she is. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, so if I want to get like an advice in terms of like strategy, I'm like, you are, an expert at marketing strategy, and helping define the persona behind ChatGPT. It always helps to get the better results, I think. But again, like I don't feel like there is like a best way to go at it. I think you have to experiment,
Mhm.
like in anything. You know what I mean? Like there's probably 1,000 ways. Same with Adobe tools back in the day. You know what I mean? Like there's different ways to get the same results in editing a video or editing an image, which by the way, like those days are gone. Have you seen the new,
The generative AI. Oh,
oh
wow.
my Lord.
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll actually share some examples of that in today's new newsletter as well. Oh gosh, I mean, I know we went over. Thank you for the comments, Hunter. Yeah, Pierre, PPC. What are the next winning lottery numbers? I don't know. Maybe we should just start using ChatGPT that way. G, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to join the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the space, Jordan. I love what you're doing. Keep it up. I checked your newsletter. It's really, really good. So thank you for your work. It keeps all of us up to date with the news in AI. So I'm glad you're doing it, and I'll keep being a fan in the distance.
Thank you. So thank you for that plug. That's a great way to end the show. So yeah, please go to youreverydayai.com. Like G just said, we are not only putting out this live stream where you can interact with our guests, also podcasts on all major networks, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon. Apparently they have something, but also the daily newsletter. We put a lot of time and effort. So a lot of the things that G's been referencing, we'll make sure to put those things in the newsletter so you can read more about what we've been talking about as well. So thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you back tomorrow and every day with Everyday AI. Thanks.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.